Hey guys, I'm back with another video, and yes, we finally have the long-awaited Disney Princess launch. Of course, I have all 6 candles and a few of the body care products as well, and we'll dig right into it. Yes, so let's see, my experience, I was nervous because I don't know if there were going to be like lines, if it was going to be a super high demand launch or not. And so I drove to my nearest Bath & Body Works, which is an hour away, and I went there right at opening, and of course there was absolutely no line. There were only 2 other people in there. There were more sales associates than there were customers, and so at least in my neck of the woods, it was not a big deal whatsoever. Most of the store was empty for the whole time I was there. There were a few people trickling in throughout the time that I was there, and they were all indeed there specifically for the Disney stuff, so that seemed to be what was drawing people in for sure, but it wasn't a madhouse or any kind of lines or anything like that whatsoever. I was able to freely sniff and roam and take all the time I wanted to smell the fragrances and look at the floor set and stuff. I think definitely the largest collaboration they've done. I mean, 3 full tables of it, you know, large signage and stuff. It was really cute and pretty. Each of the princesses have like a mirror on it and like 3 adjectives that describe who they are as a princess. And all the fixins and accessories were there. Notably missing was indeed that member exclusive crown lid $36.95 candle was not anywhere in stores. And it also didn't pop up online this morning either. So I guess that truly maybe was just an app preview, like the loyalty member preview that just happened for those 2 days, sold out, and then move on with it. I don't know, but there was that. So I do not have that candle with me because I didn't want to pay full price for it. So there was that. Anything else to talk about? I think personally for me, I think this collaboration was the one that I probably related to or was the most excited for, in the sense that I'm very familiar with Disney. I had annual passes to Disney for the majority of my life, and used to go to the parks and the hotels and the resort and everything, and I'm a huge Disney resort and theme parks fan, but not so much IP, but because I was always at the parks, of course I am like familiar with the princesses and all the attractions that involve them and all that kind of stuff. So it's the IP that I'm most familiar with, whereas like Stranger Things and Bridgerton and Emily in Paris, I've never seen a single episode, so I really had no connection there. So for that reason, this was also exciting, and also because Disney and going to Disney was such a part of my childhood, just like hearing the music and stuff makes it very nostalgic, and of course, the nostalgia is kind of what they want you to buy into, to play up your emotions of, you know, going to Disney World and having all the fun family vacations or whatever it is, and so there's that. And so me being a huge Disney like resort and theme parks fan, in addition to also being a huge Bath & Body Works fan, the 2 together was probably the one that I would potentially be the most excited for. And yes, I think one that's a little bit more theme park, the resort theme, would definitely be more exciting for me, but that's so much more niche than the general broad IP that they have for the brand, so I understand why it would be like a princess theme. And it kind of like just fits well into Bath & Body Works, kind of fun, frilly, feminine, girly motif, and so it works. So for that, I was excited. And they also have like the Disney music playing through at the store when you're shopping, which is kind of fun too. And it just kind of, it's just like fun and magical. So I did enjoy that. And now that's all out of the way. I don't think there's really anything else to talk about. Buy one, get one free on the candles plus 25% off coupon, so they all came out to be like $10. I employed the strategy of like buying more than I needed in the event that these either would sell out. I don't really know what the demand is for this or how scarce these products are, but on the ones where I was like, okay, if I remotely like this or think I might want another one later on the line, and they, for whatever reason, do actually sell out, then let me just lock in the $10 price rather than having to like, you know, do like a rose lychee where I really love it, but then I didn't buy it, and so I have no backups. I can always just return or exchange these candles after I burn the first one and see what the throw-in performance is on it. So a few of them I bought backups, even if I didn't necessarily know I was gonna love the scent burning or not. And so that is what I did here. You can always, once again, hold on to your receipts, return and exchange. And yes, okay, let us go into it. I guess we'll start out with Cinderella. So let's talk about packaging and design first. That's what that looks like. So it's actually quite subtle or subdued and quite minimal for a princess theme. I do have to say, there's just a quote here and an icon in her signature, but the candle honestly feels a little lackluster, and the lid is just a plain gold lid with no BBW logo. And what is really perplexing to me is the fact that this emblem is aligned to the bottom down here, and there's like more of a gap up here, and so it's not like centered going from down here to here, you know? And like the rest of this is so bare. And so I started thinking on the car ride home, I was like, the $36.95 candle that we got also has a very minimal, kind of boring packaging. It's just literally like gold with like silhouette, like clip art shapes of the princesses, and that was done intentionally so because the big ass like crown lid goes all the way down to half of the candle, and then that's why the bottom half has the design but the top half doesn't. And then so that got me thinking, you know, like this also seems not centered or aligned as it should be, and sometimes, you know, if you like have to account for the lid, then maybe it would be scooted down a little bit, but this just seems like it's like more to the bottom than it really needs to be. And then this is also very plain, and then of course this quote is down, aligned to the bottom is here, that I wonder if these were actually designed originally to have some kind of more like a scallop lid or some kind of more crown lid on this originally, and then for whatever reason at the last minute they couldn't maybe decide on it or whatever, they then just went with a gold flat lid because they like ran out of time or whatever. And so it's weird because if you recall, Bridgerton also had gold lids that didn't have a BBW logo on it, but these are very ornate. This whole motif is also more royal than like a Disney one. And like Disney princess, I don't know, I just think of like super over the top, like maximalist, you know, royal tea party, royal party, castle motif. And these are all just kind of very plain. And so I was like, you know what, let me test my theory and grab my Everlasting Magic candle and put this crown lid on these candles to see if it was supposed to be something like this. And I feel like this is the only like logical explanation for as why these candles are so plain and why the emblem is scooted down, is because like look at something like that. So if this also had a crown lid similar to this, you can see like, you know, they would intentionally want to keep this area clear and free of design because you know, a crown lid is supposed to go on there. And if they also had something like this on there, it also clears this top part as well. That I wonder if these were all maybe supposed to have some kind of crown lid initially and they couldn't decide on it, or some kind of production issue or whatever. And so as a last minute, they're like, you know what, all we can do at this point are just plain gold lids, and that's what they end up going with. Because something about this, just like when they're all lined up together, we know, well, Disney, but we also know Bath & Body Works can like really knock it out of the park with packaging and over the top like cutesy embellishments and everything. And to get something that's like this simple or subdued, just, I don't know, something makes me think that there was supposed to be maybe more with a lid. And also, like normally, like the collaboration candles are at least like $29.95 or something, but these are down to $26.95, and I guess it's because there is no other accent to them. And maybe originally they were supposed to be higher, or maybe they couldn't decide on a price point. I don't really know what it is, but something just makes me think that maybe that these were originally all supposed to have more ornate, some type of like scalloped ornate lid like this, and explains the way the design is. And just as a designer who, you know, does candles for a living, it's just the things that I think about that I just was like, something seems weird here, because I don't know, they just seem really plain for a Disney princess motif, and BBW can really knock it out of the park with all the lids and all that kind of stuff. So it just got me thinking. But yes, so the packaging, I guess on one hand, I appreciate that maybe it is a little bit more subtle or subdued, like because this could easily go into their souvenir route, like, you know, a souvenir shop like off of Disney property, and you see all like the grody souvenir like t-shirts and stuff, where it could have had like a big, you know, animated Cinderella image on it and everything. So on one hand, I appreciate that these are a little bit more subtle and subdued and more just like minimalist princess. And they didn't go the souvenir route, but I think there was still a better, or there could have been still so much more done with the rest of this candle, or a pattern or something that, I don't know, it is what it is. But in any case, that's enough of the chat on that. Let us get into the fragrances. Okay, so we have Cinderella, Gardenia Petals, Enchanting Musk, Sapphire Blue Amber. It says magical things can happen if you believe in yourself. And the quote on the bottom of the warning label is also the same as the one here. And if you have the body care or if you have access to the floor sets in store, they all also have a 3 of the adjectives. So this is what the body care looks like, and so she's supposed to be kind, optimistic, and hopeful, and that's what the packaging on that looks like. That works well on a shower gel bottle, but I don't know, on a candle it just seems like it's missing something. Okay, so Gardenia, Musk, and Sapphire Blue Amber. This one I picked up 2 of, just in case. I was like, I don't know, I really like white florals and gardenia fragrances, so I did pick up 2 of this. And this is very, very similar to your just traditional gardenia fragrance from Bath & Body Works. So think of Rainforest Gardenia, Seaside Gardenia, and White Gardenia. White Gardenia being the one that's always out in the White Barn core packaging. It is quite similar to that. And so we do have the Rainforest Gardenia fragrance here. And it sure enough has a very, very, very similar gardenia note. This one has a little bit more of a crisp greenness from the Rainforest Bamboo action that is listed in Rainforest Gardenia. And this one's a little bit more softer and powdery and sort of smooth around the edges from the amber and the musk. And so it makes it a little bit more body care appropriate than Rainforest Gardenia, which is more like a full-blown, sort of has a lush green component to it that maybe is a little bit better in home fragrance or whatever. But yes, but still a very similar gardenia nonetheless. It also reminds me a whole lot of One in the Million, which had a jasmine, tuberose, gardenia, pink pepper, and cashmere musk. So similar notes shared in there. And let's smell this. And yeah, it is actually quite similar to this as well. I think this one's actually more crisp and white floral because of the tuberose and the jasmine in there as well, but a similar white floral gardenia note. Yeah, this one has it's a little bit more of an amber and musk to make it a little bit more smooth and creamy, but still very much a white floral gardenia fragrance. First and foremost, you would have to enjoy gardenia to enjoy this one. Vaguely reminiscent of Dressed in White, but still more floral and crisp and more like gardenia singularly than Dressed in White was. But it has that kind of very white floral crisp, I guess a royal floral feminine vibe to it. Yeah, so I guess it kind of matches what I would imagine from Cinderella with the color and the motif and everything. So yeah, I like it. It's also very similar to our Vanilla Beach Flower, if you remember that, or there was a Vanilla Blossom fragrance as well. We had a lot of gardenia plus vanilla fragrances way back in the day from BBW in candle format, and it's very much in that gardenia family. So that's pretty much all I think I can say about it. But I do love white floral, so I picked up a second one just in case I really end up enjoying this one, but we will see. But yes, I would say Rainforest Gardenia is definitely the closest to that one. Moving on, we have Jasmine, and that's what that one looks like right here. This one says, sparkling jasmine flower, jeweled currants, and soft woods. Be free to create your own world. And this is a mix between the usual so played out Baccarat Rouge 540 fragrance. It's very similar to that. So what is it? The Rouge Rebel and the Seeing Rouge, First Sight, Velvet Amber Woods, In the Stars, all of that is just all some kind of variation of the Baccarat Rouge 540 fragrance. It is immensely similar to that, but the currants in here, so the currants, which would be almost like a tart berry fragrance, is very reminiscent to the berry makeup that we get in Wine Cellar, and there was smoke berries and incense when it initially came out, and then the original Black Cherry Merlot was also kind of in that dark fruits category as well, not to be confused with the Black Cherry Merlot that's out now, but the very first iteration of the Cork and Vine collection. Wine Cellar, it kind of reminds me of, there's this sort of exotic dark berry note that's not your lighthearted sweet fruit wild blueberries, strawberries, blackberry, but truly more like a currant or whatever berries are in the Wine Cellar. It just has a darker feel to it. That is what I get in here. And yeah, I feel I get the Baccarat Rouge 540, Velvet Amber Woods, all of that mixed with just a hint of this sort of Wine Cellar type woodsy berry current fragrance, and that is what I get from this. So if you're looking for maybe a cross between Wine Cellar and Baccarat Rouge 540, this is kind of what it is. It doesn't really smell like jasmine in the way that you like normally would pinpoint a jasmine like out in the wild, like a night blooming jasmine, which is more white, heady, and floral, very much more in the round of like a 1 in a million, or a gardenia. A real jasmine that's blooming smells more like that than it does this. This is more like a body care jasmine, but there's very much like a spiciness in here too. When you first open it, there's something almost that even smells like cinnamon in some way. Like it kind of reminds me of like cinnamon sugar donut or cinnamon spice vanilla. There's a spiciness in here that almost smells like a sweet cinnamon. I don't know, but yes. So comparing it to Velvet Amber Woods right here, that's what we have. And this one has amber, jasmine, hello, and saffron. Yeah, they're not the same. This one has, yeah, they're not the same, but very much shares a similar type of profile. So I would say if you like that Baccarat Rouge 541, this is kind of gonna be that slot for you, just added with a little bit more extraness. Yeah, so that was Jasmine right there. Needless to say, exhausted on Baccarat Rouge 540, so that was just a single pickup. Moving on, we have Moana. I did pick up a second one of this one as a backup just in case. Very undecided on whether or not I will keep it. Lush Green Palms, Plumeria Breeze, and Coconut Water. And yes, I think I like it. You definitely get more of this green, almost like sandy coconut. The Lush Green Palms is actually quite prominent, I do have to say. There's very much a green foliage, less tropical foliage vibe first and foremost, and then you do get kind of like this, almost like a coconut hairspray product. The way the coconut and the plumeria mix together, it's more like has a slightly like synthetic artificial like hairspray aerosol feel to it. Wow. Yeah. And so it's definitely the one that smells the most like tropical out of all of them, but it's not still quite as like on your nose tropical sunscreen or like manoi oil tanning like bronzed feel as you would get from Hibiscus Paradise or Cocoa Paradise or even Tropidelic. It's still different and stands on its own from those variations that we got all the time, because I think this one does indeed have such a green prominence to it, but then a very distinct like artificial coconut hairspray note in here that the like plumeria in this gets more buried down than I would, I guess, hope for it to be. Like I do enjoy the Cocoa Paradise and the Hibiscus Paradise's more solar floral, traditional solar floral quality. I prefer that over what we're getting here, but I don't know, like maybe once you go to burn this it will bloom and become a little bit better, but I do still enjoy me a good like beachy tropical fragrance, and this one's not quite as floral as you might imagine the usual like white heady florals, and that also makes sense because like Cinderella already exists as the very white heady floral gardenia fragrance, and so they need some variation in the lineup, so I can see why this one's maybe not quite as like solar floral as it could be, because Gardenia Cinderella already exists. Comparing it to At the Beach that we have right here, a very old original version of it. This one's also frangipani, coconut, bergamot, sea salt breeze, and sun-kissed musk, so there are some comparisons to be made here. This one's a little bit more on the nose coconut floral, and it is missing that like lush green palm, sort of fruity greenness is more prominent in here that At the Beach is missing. So I don't think this is at all a dupe of this fragrance, but I would say still have to say this is probably the closest to from their backlog of fragrances. So that was Moana. Undecided. I'll have to burn this one and see how it goes. Next we have Belle, and that's what that looks like right there. This one says, Rose Petals, Sparkling Buttercup, and Whipped Vanilla. Open your heart to new adventures. I was excited for this one because you guys know I love me a good rose vanilla fragrance. And so I did pick up 3 of these right off the bat. So I was like, you know what? If this is really juicy and it sells out and I can't get any more later on, I'm going to be kicking myself. So buy excess, burn it, and then do the return and exchanges later if I have to. So yes, I like this one. And because I did Hello by 3 of them, obviously I liked it the most. I think this is... it's not as rosy as you would imagine. It's more like this, almost like a fruity vanilla that has a very like powder puff, pretty floral quality to it, that gives it definitely an inedible perfumey vibe to it. I think there is a significant fruit presence in here that is missing from the notes. And so you get heaps of vanilla. It's similar to, oh god, Whipped Vanilla Chiffon, that body care. If you remember that, I wish I would have grabbed it. I actually have one, but it's very much in the realm of Whipped Vanilla Chiffon, where it's like this juicy, awesome, robust vanilla fragrance that is made more body care and perfumey, and so that's why it feels more robust than just a plain old like Vanilla Bean Noel or whatever, you know. I almost smell like a passion fruit in here. Almost like a passion fruit and like a passion fruit like peony fragrance or something like that is what this kind of reminds me of. I don't know. It's like passion fruit mixed with vanilla and then some type of floral, but the rose isn't even still quite as prominent as some other roses that we've had in the past. Like Rose Vanilla, the Love Aromatherapy is still more on the nose rose. So is Rosewater Meringue. Let's see, what else have we had? Like Blush Poinsettia. All of those scream more rose to me. And this one, even though it lists rose as the first note, I don't know. I think the vanilla and some undisclosed fruit note is so much more prominent in this, and rose is almost like last, just to give it an inedible body care feel to it. And so this one does, however, smell quite similar to Whipped Rose Latte, and so we have that from the original one. I freaking love this fragrance. And then I was excited when it came out as Whipped Rose and Vanilla in this packaging as well. It was a repackage. This is crushed rose petals, cocoa flower, and whipped foam, literally the same notes on both of them. And let us smell this. Yeah, I think so. This also has kind of a generic, like that scented toilet paper rose type of fragrance. And I think this one's actually more, even though they're very similar, this actually has more rose in it than even the Belle one does. I would have to say this is still the closest fragrance in terms of comparison, but this still has more of a, like a generic powdery floral presence that's, it is rose, but still not quite as like on your nose, like prominent rose as I would hope for. Yeah, this is more floral than the Belle one, but wow, very similar. But there is some undisclosed fruit note in this that just really stands out. And so we also have Sweet Petal Pound Cake, which I was like, is this gonna be Pink Petal Tea Cake in body care format? And it was not. Candied Rose, Raspberry Swirl, and Frosted Bundt Cake. Boy, it is very similar to this as well. And I was saying like Whipped Rose, when this first came out, I was like, this just kind of smells like a variation or a tweak on Whipped Rose and Vanilla, but I still did end up enjoying this fragrance. And this one definitely smells more fruity than Whipped Rose and Vanilla, that I feel like maybe this Belle fragrance is actually closer to Sweet Petal Pound Cake than it is to Whipped Rose Latte, but splitting hairs because all three of these fragrances, well, here's the Belle one, kind of smell like one of those things where it was one concept, multiple variations, and all the little tweaks, and that's what we ended up with here. I guess now that I did get the Belle shower gel with Reward as well, and I guess I can smell this one. Yeah, comparing it to the other two shower gel format, this is definitely the least floral. So I would almost venture out to say this is the most like sweet, fruity vanilla out of all of them. Even though it lists rose first, this one's actually more sweet, cute, leaning gourmand fruity than the most of them in this lineup. Yeah, despite that, I like it. It's a very like fun, frilly, it should be a pink candle, but because it's Belle, they had to make it yellow. But under any other circumstance, I feel like it would be some kind of like pink body care fragrance that we would get from Bath & Body Works. But yeah, I don't know, maybe even like a lemon or a citrus in here. There is heaps of some kind of fruit note in here, and that's what's cutting it from being so overly rosy and floral as I guess I would prefer, but still my favorite out of the bunch. But now dissecting it, I don't think I would need three of them. Maybe just a single backup. So that was Belle. Here was the shower gel as well. I will see how that goes. I also did get the pocket back because it was still my favorite fragrance nonetheless from the collection. Moving on, we have Tiana, and that's what that looks like. I think people were all saying they wanted a true blue gourmand fragrance in this collection, and I can understand that in the sense of wanting a whole lot of variety. And so a lot of people were slotting or hoping this would be like a beignets fragrance, beignets, which is like fried dough with powdered sugar on it. And I can see that, but also it's kind of like, okay, we have all these like bold, empowered, confident, fearless, elegant, timeless, whatever adjective princesses all up in the lineup, and there's 6 of them, right? And so it's like if all the other ones got like this glamorous, like floral body care perfume fragrance, and then they got to Tiana, and then one of the princesses were like, oh, hey, you smell like fried dough. Like, doesn't that seem like it would be kind of like womp womp on the part of Tiana? Because like, what are I wish I had the adjectives for Tiana. I don't, because I don't have any of her products, but like whatever her adjectives are, like if it was like, you know, confident and whatever, and then the fragrance was fried dough, I feel like there's just a little bit of a disconnect there. And the whole theming of the floor set and the princess thing is that there's like a mirror there, and it has like these 3 almost like positive affirmation words. And so like when you wear the fragrance, you're supposed to feel confident and positive and empowered or whatever. But then like a fried dough beignets fragrance just wouldn't quite tie into that concept or theming. And so I understand why all of them pretty much got very like body care, fine fragrance interpretations attached to them. At least for me, it makes sense when you look at the whole theming as a whole. Okay. So Tiana has delicate water lily, gilded amber, and shimmering bayou woods. Is this the only one? No. So her and Ariel have core wicks, and the other one all had thick rope-like wicks. This kind of smells like household cleaner to me. There's very much like a cleaner citrus note in this that I have to say I don't really love. I get almost like a grapefruit or a lime. Some type of like cleaning citrus product note is in here that is first and foremost. And I can't say I love it. And then a aquatic floral. So yeah, think of like a cleaning product citrus with a floral in here. Definitely not my least favorite. That's pretty much all I get from it. There's indeed an amber note in here to warm it up a little bit, but there's an undeniable citrus note in here that is very sharp and almost like cleanerish. That is once again like very much omitted from the notes. But I guess shimmering bayou woods could maybe encompass that. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I get almost like a yellow grapefruit or some kind of lemon lime fragrance mixed with like a aquatic floral. Yeah, I would probably have to say my least favorite fragrance, but there's Tiana right there. And lastly, we have Ariel, which is going to be your like token like aquatic sea type of fragrance, and that's what that looks like right here. She says, create a world you want to be a part of. And what did Tiana say? The world you want is almost there. You just have to create it. Okay. Ariel is sea salt breeze, golden citrus, and coral waters. And let's see. This smells very familiar. This is incredibly similar to saltwater breeze. And so we have that here from the full wrap version rather than that cheap ass Candle Day square label version that we got instead. Fresh linen, violet leaves, and white water blossom. Not the same fragrance, but very much sibling fragrances. Wow. I think this one's a little bit more powdery and has that like, I guess, floral quality that's coming from the linen and violet. The violet and linen really push out a little bit more of this powdery floral quality that almost leans in like a linen laundry cotton type of vibe mixed with heaps of a aquatic component. And Ariel is still similar to that, but it is missing the more powdery violet linen cotton fragrance that you get from Saltwater Breeze, but a very similar vibe in this for sure. It kind of smells plasticky. I feel like there is another fragrance out there that also, oh my god, Lakeside Morning? Is that what it is? Kind of gives me Lakeside Morning vibes too. Yeah, I would say it still has a little bit of a floral undertone to it, but it's the least floral from all of them, probably. Well, Tiana's also very citrusy too. this one's probably the most clean, fresh and clean. Would be the best way to describe this. This is the most fresh and clean out of all of them. Yeah, it kind of gives me lakeside morning vibes on this too. And because of that, I would say this one's probably the most like unisex out of all of them, in the sense that it's a little bit more fresh, clean, and not so like obvious like floral perfume, fine fragrance like the rest have. Yeah, probably gonna be a one and done for sure. Yeah. Sea salt breeze, golden citrus, and coral waters. Yeah. I don't know. Ariel. I would say this and Tiana are probably kind of at the bottom in terms of fragrances that I would like. Belle and Cinderella are definitely my two favorite. And then after the Cinderella and Belle would be Moana. And then Jasmine's kind of above the Tiana and Ariel. Yes. So obviously like these three were the ones that I did not get backups of and probably would not entertain body care of, whereas the other three I would. Okay, I think that's pretty much it for all the chatter. Yeah, here's the Belle pocket back if you wanted to see that. I did like the fragrance enough to get that in pocket back format. And then I think I had a free travel size body care coupon. And so I redeemed that for a Waikiki Beach coconut, and that was that. And I think that's pretty much it for the princess one. I don't know. I like floral and perfumey fragrances, so it was still fun or exciting. I'll have to kind of burn them and dig into them to see how they do. I mean, obviously, like if this didn't have the power of the Disney brand and the marketing and the messaging and the naming and the theming and the full-blown floor set, would they just be another 6 Bath & Body Works body care fragrances that we could get like any time with like generic names? 100% absolutely. But that is the power of packaging, naming, and branding, is that it gets associated to music and naming and movies and all that, and all of a sudden it becomes, you know, bigger than what it truly is. But like if you're blind and smelling these fragrances, they smell like another Bath & Body Works body care fragrance. But I like Bath & Body Works body care fragrance, so that's not a bad thing. But yeah, I don't know. I'll just have to burn them and see how they do. But overall, it was still fun, and I'm so grateful that they do stuff like this. And I'm sure there was just probably so much work that went into this launch, into also partner with Disney and whatever stipulations they had as well. I would assume this whole project was a huge undertaking. So congratulations to the teams on all sides to finally getting that out here and having a full launch that's finally like, you know, complete and done with. So congratulations, and I guess thank you for all the hard work that got put into this. And I'm sure a lot of people out there are very happy that there's a Disney Princess collab, and it's fun to be able to experience it. So overall, still very positive. And yeah, so it's just, they're more fragrances at the end of the day, but I'm still excited to smell them and burn them and see how they do and go from there. So that's pretty much it. Let me know all your thoughts on all the princess candles and what your experience was. Were there long lines? You know, did you get everything that you wanted? Leave all the comments down below. The only thing that's missing is that I did not buy the $36.95 candles, so I kind of wish I knew what that smelled like, but no big whoop, because I really don't want to spend $40 on that. So yeah, okay, that's pretty much it. Thanks so much for watching. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.